Hey guys, G-Star Randoms here. Again, for the next part of my video, I've got my stuff ready to solder. I got my soldering gun hot. I got my solder, my lights. If you buy from My Custom Xbox or My Custom Controller, you will get it on this. I got red, so it's taped right here. And it comes in a little thing like this. All you want to do is just use your tweezers, open this up, right here. And you just dump out your LED. Super tiny. Like, handle it very carefully. If you go to their site, you can buy hot tweezers, but these are just regular tweezers I have kicking around my house. So, first I gotta show you how to take off the old LEDs, the green ones. Before I started this, I took off 2 of them, so it didn't take so long. What you're gonna want to do, make sure your soldering gun is nice and hot. I have a 1530 watt one, so I put it on 15. You just put a little bit of solder on the end of your soldering gun, and you just touch back and forth on it. Right now, I'm sorry, I was checking to make sure my controller was actually in focus on the camera right there. You just touch back and forth like this. A little bit of solder on there. And it just comes off. Right now I'm just wiping it off onto a napkin. If you have a soldering station, then you can just wipe it off from there. Clean the little negative and positive points on your controller. Make sure they're nice and flat. So you just kind of touch over it with the soldering gun, iron, whatever you want to call it. Make sure they're not touching each other or your board will short out. Next LED, same thing. Throw a little bit of solder on there. Before you solder anything, make sure you always clean off any solder that's already on there. Otherwise you will not get a very strong solder bond. Make sure you don't touch yourself with the solder, like flick it on yourself or touch the iron itself. You will burn yourself very badly. Almost ready to solder the LEDs on right now. Just cleaning off all my little negative and positive things. Now that you're ready to solder, well, if I'm going too fast for you, just rewind, pause the video, play it over, whatever. On the back of the LEDs, there will be a little screen block looking thing or an arrow. I know you probably can't see this on the camera. Well, I got this thing right in front of the camera. If you can't see it, well, I'm sorry. But there's, oh, I just dropped it. Okay, I gotta find that little LED now. I just dropped it. So, sorry about that, guys. Huh. That is why they send extras. So I did drop this thing. And it is very, very small. I actually lost the LED, so I'm actually gonna grab a new one. They do send 5 for this exact occasion. I bought a set of 50 LEDs previously to this on eBay for about $5 or something, or $6-7 or something like that. So I do have extra. Doesn't matter to me. See, it might kick up later. I don't even know. Super tiny. So again, you want to make sure the arrow is pointing towards this little white line that's on your controller. Depends on what model you have. You gotta find out which one, but there will be a little white line and the arrow points towards it. There'll be a little line right there. I dropped the second one again, but I did find it. These things are super hard to keep a hold of, but you take this little green arrow, line it up with the little white line that's on your controller here, and just stick it there. If you're not sure if it's working, just plug the battery and hold it down to the point. But I know I have this right, so I'm not going to do that. Put a little solder on the end of your soldering iron. You don't need very much at all. And just touch to the end of the LED. Okay, this does not want to work right now. There we go. Even though it's not working because my LED is too far forward on the points. Here we go. Then I put more solder on the tip and touch the other side. You don't need to touch it very much, just kind of lob it on there a little bit. It should just suck underneath. And then once that cools a little bit, touch the other side again. I've actually got to clean that up a little bit. Because if you get solder from 2 different points on a board that touch, you do short your board out. The first time I actually tried soldering, I did it to one of my controllers. So I had to just unsolder a little bit and it worked. It's the first time I did LEDs, so lesson learned. Because I blobbed a lot in this area. Okay, good. For the next LED, take your little pack that you get, peel it back, and just dump it out on the table or your work surface where you are. Again, make sure the point is facing the right way. Throw a little bit of solder on my gun, iron. Move the controller rather than yourself, it will work out better. Except that did not work at all. I think I may have just soldered my LED to my tweezers. Solder is just moving around this iron like crazy. Okay, that works. A little messy right now, but I might go back and fix it because this is my good controller. I actually don't have that steady of a hand. I don't know why, I just don't. But right now, because I'm not too sure about that solder point, you take a battery, throw it in, grab your little piece here, and just stick it on. And then just turn on your controller. See, it does work. It's got a good enough solder point. I'm actually gonna make sure this is actually still in view. Okay. Don't solder with your battery in. It usually doesn't work out too well. My battery kind of stuck there. So grab another LED and just dump it on the table. Same thing as last time. The last 2 LEDs here, just throw on some solder and make sure the point is facing the right way. That is just making a mess. If you have too much solder on, just flick it off and start again. It also works to put a little bit of solder on the point and then just heat up the point and just melt the LED on. It'll just work kind of like that. A little bit of solder here. Oh, that didn't even work at all. Throw in a little solder. Touch the other side. And that should be good. Throw the battery in, make sure it's working. See, it did not light up. I'm going to try throwing some more solder on there, see if that works. Don't want to blow up too much on there, because if you do, it's not going to work out.